Hi, this is Sean Garrison, online editor of Cordell & Cordell and DadsDivorce. Today we are speaking with Dr. Ned Holstein, who is the founder of the National Parents Organization. Dr. Holstein is an assistant clinical professor at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, and for years has been one of the leading advocates for equal rights and responsibilities for fathers and mothers. Dr. Holstein recently assisted in writing the NPO's National Shared Parenting Report Card. The report was the first of its kind to provide a comprehensive ranking of states based on their child custody statutes. We will talk to Dr. Holstein about the report's findings, as well as what needs to be done in order to address and improve the country's laws regarding shared parenting. Good morning, Ned. Thanks for speaking with us today. To start with, this is the first national study to provide a comprehensive ranking of each state based on its child custody laws. In your opinion, why hasn't there been more attention given to this topic when researchers are in agreement that shared parenting following separation or divorce can help children thrive?
I think two reasons. First is that there is definitely special interest group opposition to shared parenting in the family courts, even though we now know pretty clearly that it's better for kids. And then you combine that with the habitual kind of prudence of researchers. They want to make sure they've got perfect science before they go out on a controversial limb. So they're not always so quick to broadcast conclusions that are pretty good. They want to wait till they're perfect, and that can take many years. So I think on the one hand, the opposition from special interest groups, and on the other hand, that the scientists have a different mindset, and their mindset is they want to be really sure before they put something out into the public sphere that is controversial. Although I have to say, I put the word controversial in quotes because every single poll and survey that's ever been done of Americans shows that by overwhelming majorities, they believe that shared parenting is the best outcome for children and should be the usual outcome when both parents are fit and there's been no domestic violence.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. In the first 8 months of 2014, there were 3 separate child research organizations that provided studies based on shared parenting. That's in addition to your study. Why, in your opinion, do you feel there's been this sudden uptick in interest in shared parenting and child custody laws?
Well, the National Parents Organization has been flogging this issue, and others have too, because look, we've got kids who are suffering from drugs and school dropout and alcohol and gangs and teenage pregnancy, and a whole raft of problems that has shown themselves to be impervious to all of the sort of great society programs that started over 50 years ago with President Lyndon Johnson. And so these programs have tried every imaginable approach, and yet we're still having these problems. If anything, they're worse instead of better. So new approaches are needed. And one new approach is this compelling research that children can be helped in all of these spheres. And guess what? It's free. So let's do it. 35% of kids are in America growing up in single-parent households. Those parents are often courageous, hardworking. They're doing their very best. They're good people. But despite all of those heroic efforts, all the data shows that these are the kids that get in trouble. These are the kids who drop out of school. These are the kids who end up in jail.
Yeah, definitely. Across the board, states scored very poorly on this report with a cumulative GPA of just 1.63. Did you notice any common pitfalls that states that scored poorly tended to fall into? And on the other hand, did you see any similarities between the states that scored well?
Well, I would just say in general, the problem is inertia. They were taught years ago that having one custodial parent was the best thing for children. Look, as recently as 1979, the daughter of Sigmund Freud, the famous founder of psychoanalysis, his daughter here in the United States published a book, and in that book, this is pretty much a verbatim quote, she says that the non-custodial parent should have no legally enforceable right to visit the child. That's a pretty near exact quote. In other words, there should be one decision maker, one set of rules, one place for the child to lay down his or her books, one parent basically. And that's what the psychoanalysts taught. So if judges were looking for experts in 1979, that's what they would have heard. So the young lawyer in law school in 1979 is a judge 20 years later in 1999 writing decisions that have precedential value, and now a judge in 2014 making a decision on what they think is best for children is referencing a judicial decision that was made in 1999. So the teachings that long ago are still ruling the courts, because the law by design is meant to rely on precedent, and that makes it an institution that's slow to change. So there's been failure to pay attention to the research, and let's be honest with ourselves. Going to law school does not make you a reader of child development research. You study bankruptcy, you study torts, you study evidence, you study the Constitution. You don't study what's best for kids.
Yeah, definitely. Now moving forward, what do you think states need to do in order to address this issue and start improving the manner in which they promote shared parenting?
Well, I think organizations like ours, National Parents Organization, has to keep up the pressure. If you let up, you lose. There are special interests who oppose these changes that don't have the best interests of children in mind. We have to overcome those. And I think that judicial discretion to some degree is always going to be necessary. So what do you then do? If you can't make the law mandate shared parenting, and you probably shouldn't, because judicial discretion is necessary, because human life is so varied, what do you do instead? And I think what you do instead is you have to educate the judges. Here's what the research is now showing. Here we now know what is best for children. This is developing knowledge. It didn't jump out of nowhere. This research has been going on for 40 years, and now the results are absolutely clear-cut. And we have to get governors to appoint judges who have a record of being friendly to shared parenting, and where judges are elected, the judges who are put forward by the respective parties should be vetted, should be screened to see that they have a history of being in favor of shared parenting.
Thank you, Ned. We have enjoyed speaking with you here at Dad's Divorce.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be here.
That was Ned Holstein, founder and chair of the National Parents Organization. To read the NPO's full report, visit nationalparentsorganization.org. This has been Sean Garrison, online editor of Cordell & Cordell and Dad's Divorce.